I think I don't. Is this a troll? Let's find out. Mr. Unblock in Canada. You're live with Eric. How are you doing?
How you doing today, man?
I'm doing all right. I did not create a lower third for you. Is this Mr. Delicious?
Yes, it is, man. Why you guys block me from commenting in the chat in the comment section? After all our engagement, you
I,
receive a lot of comments. Go ahead.
honestly, I trust our mods. If you were
Okay.
blocked during the chat, you can't think it was me and V. We're hosting.
Okay, no problem.
But I trust our mods.
No,
I
no, but I'm permanently. I don't think they can permanently block a person. I think that's something that has to do with the higher ups. So I don't know.
well,
I can't even respond to people commenting on my different discussion I had with you guys because I would love to like respond to certain comments that are false, basically, for the sake of the people, to edify the people. But it's okay. It's
well,
your choice.
I haven't done that personally, but I can't guarantee that there hasn't been like even our mods don't moderate the comments. The only
Okay.
thing I can imagine is that YouTube picked it up for some reason. So
Interesting. Interesting.
I would take it up there, because generally, like, the only reason we would take a comment down is if it was, calling for violence
No,
or,
I'm a Christian. I'm a
yeah,
Christian. You already
oh,
know me. You know my style. You know my
dude,
style. Right?
don't go that way. A lot of Christians believe in violence and justify violence. So don't say I'm a Christian
They're
now.
not Christians. They're not Christians. They're not Christians. I think we had that discussion the last time. So
Yeah.
I won't
Okay.
take up your time.
Hold on. So we talked about the no true Scotsman fallacy. How do you get away from the no true Scotsman fallacy there?
The problem with a no truth Cosmis fallacy is, if I'm understanding correctly, is disqualifying a certain group of people with certain rhetoric that has no substance to it, which is not applicable to an internal critique.
Mm,
If you're going to define a Christian, you're going to have to limit your definition to the parameters established in the Word of Scripture. So I don't think a no truth Cosmis fallacy can apply to that.
Let,
So
let me think about that for a second.
go ahead.
You know, I get that, but I think that there are a lot of people who call themselves Christians that have different takes on Scripture. And that's like you to say that they don't have a take on Scripture would be weird. But to say
No,
that
no,
you
no.
have the
I
only
agree with you. I agree with you on that point.
okay,
There's 44,000 different denominations. So of course, what you're saying is true, but it still doesn't change the fact that Scripture is quite clear on what a Christian is. And once you limit yourself to what is stipulated in Scripture, you'll realize most people who call themselves Christians are not really Christians. So I gave you one example. Isaiah 56, verse 6 and 7 says you have to keep the Sabbath to inherit the kingdom. How many people who claim to be Christian keep the 7 day Sabbath? Not a lot. So already there you've
uh,
disqualified 95% of so-called Christianity.
honestly, man, I feel like I'm the wrong person to talk to about that one.
I agree. I agree with you. I agree.
Yeah, so let's keep the kind of really like the thing that kind of makes me worried about when you call
Yeah,
is you throw out stuff so quick, and I'm not going to be able to respond to each of the things.
I agree.
And because of that, I sit there and I kick myself and I go, oh well, I could have responded to this, but then how much am I going to interrupt this guy? And it kills me. So we're going to do our best to try and hammer this forward and not bring in extra crap, because it says in the
No problem.
comments that you want to demonstrate that Christianity is reasonably and objectively true.
Yeah. So
And
how about we address the first time we ever met each other? I used my infallible, and I've been using this. I'm sure you're familiar with me already with my 7 day cycle argument, and I've been using this with the best atheist apologists I've met: Matt Dillahunty, Pine Creek, a whole bunch of different people, and they all panic when they are faced with this reality of my presentation and what it implies.
so
So
so so you did it again. Don't
what did I do?
Even if I agree like, don't, let's not bring people who aren't here into it, because
Okay. I'm sorry. I
no,
apologize. I apologize.
that's
I
okay.
won't do that again.
It puts me in a position where I need to take a stance on things, and it's not
Okay, I
even
agree. I
relevant
agree.
to what
Okay.
you're saying.
I agree. Okay, totally. I accept what you just said. It makes sense.
Cool.
So, how about we keep it simple and focus on the issue at hand? So,
Cool.
I believe Christianity is reasonable due to the fact that number one, the Hebrews uh, uh, relay the message that the 7 day cycle is exclusively claimed by the God, their God, basically, or the God of the Hebrews exclusively uh, makes claims to the 7 day cycle. And number two, they also say that the sign that he is God is the fact that he predicted the 7 day cycle as a universal demonstration of his power and his sovereignty over all nations. So those are the two propositions which I believe reasonably demonstrate Jesus is Lord over all nations. What would
Okay.
you say about that?
So the first is I want to ask you is in the show notes it says that you wanted to talk about prophecy, and so if we're going to talk about the 7 day cycle, I'll give you
Yeah,
one last time, but if you call again in the future after this,
yeah,
I would
yeah.
want it to be on other things, because I like having
Okay.
varied discussions. You know what I mean?
I agree. I
Okay.
totally understand. And the reason why I give this as my prophecy, because first of all, it's exclusive to me. So I'm kind of proud and I have this honor of being bestowed this incredible insight on the proof of God, number one. And number two is the fact that there's no other prophecy that demonstrates that he's universally sovereign over all nations. This is the only prophecy that actually demonstrates that. So that's the reason why I do it. I
Well,
could use other prophecies to
no,
show you that he has certain powers in certain regions, but to show power over all is the 7 day cycle proof.
no. I mean, okay. So I have different places where I can go with this. The sovereignty over all nations, I'm just dismissing out of hand. That's something that you can talk about maybe another time at another call, but that's definitely not
Okay,
relevant to the 7 day cycle thing.
okay,
It's a different conversation that I think is wrong for entirely different reasons. And so we would need to kind of split those off to have like a meaningful talk. Um,
okay, no problem.
okay, so let's think about measurement here for a second.
Okay, let's go with that.
Okay, so what is more true, a foot or a meter?
None of them.
What about
They're both.
what about if we're using kind of imperial measurements versus metric, just in general?
They're both good. I don't see why one would be better than the next.
Are you sure?
As far as I know, you could always educate me on. That's not my specialty, but go ahead.
No. I agree. I just wanted to find out why you think so, because we measure things because we can, and we're able to use those measurements practically. And to say that the sets like 7 days in a week is somehow fundamental and not just a measurement that we use confuses the heck out of me. I don't understand why you would think that the way we split 7 days is somehow um, integral to the universe and not just a measurement. You know, it's almost
No. It's not. It's totally arbitrary. And not. And the fact that it's arbitrary only solidifies my argument because the point is the 70 cycle is exclusively Hebraic and it was predicted to be universal, replacing all different calendars, which was not a 7 day cycle, which were held for religious and cultural and governmental purposes.
okay.
So that is what you need to address. The fact that it's arbitrary only validates my claim, not militate against it.
Okay,
I don't quite understand.
sure. Well, if it sounded like at the beginning you were saying that it was far from arbitrary, and so if I didn't respond to that, that would not make a lot of sense. So that's the first piece on that. Cool. Let's move forward. Let's say that sounds to me like might equals right. Um,
You can say that. I have no problems with that. Not the might of man, the might of God. That he
well,
has to demonstrate power. Because what
no,
exactly would be?
hold on, hold on,
Okay, go
hold
ahead.
on.
Go ahead.
So are you saying that it was your God who personally um, subjugated and enforced um, the what is it, the Julian
70
calendar,
cycle.
Gregorian
No,
calendar? Which
no, the
calendar do
Gregorian
we use?
calendar. I'm sorry.
Which calendar do we use right now?
Most of the world uses the Gregorian calendar except for Ethiopia, Iran, and Afghanistan. So the 70 cycle is universal as opposed to the Gregorian calendar. So therefore, human agency cannot account for why the 7-day cycle is universal. If that's the argument you're going to use, I've been debating this. I'm ready for whatever you got. But the 7-day cycle is universal. The Gregorian calendar is not.
Hold on. The 7-day cycle is universal. So if I put you on, I don't know, Mars, would the 7-day cycle still be beneficial for you?
I think that the last time we engaged on this issue and you came with this argument, I told you my second proposition is that Jesus is sovereign over nations. So I didn't come here. He didn't come to subjugate Martians on planet Mars.
So
he can subjugate all humans.
Got it. So I've got to say, man, for somebody who's worried about other people being scared, that sounds like a pretty quick dodge. I want you to.
What do you mean?
Sure. Yeah. Sure. So are you saying that your God is not sovereign over Mars?
No.
Is your God too impotent, or does your God not care?
No. Here's the issue. The fact that he subjugated all the Earth is good enough for you. That's number one. Number two, there's nobody in Mars for him to subjugate.
Okay, hold on. I didn't say that. If you're going to put words in my mouth, I'll do it to you, and you're not going to like it. Do you understand me?
What did you say?
I said, if you put words in my mouth, I'll do it to you, and you're not going to like it. I'm running on 3 hours of sleep.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Don't do it again.
Correct me where I was wrong. Correct me, and I will do it again. Tell me where I was wrong.
Yeah, you made a statement about me being okay with a God that was sovereign over the earth, and so I was moving past that. I'm specifically trying to point out how absolutely ridiculous it is that you're using a relative form of measurement to reinforce an objective conclusion. And then when I talk about the fact that it's not objective, you go, well, that makes it even more the case. It's even more true because it's so, what was the word that you used?
Arbitrary. But
arbitrary, right.
So objectivity has to do with arbitrary. How are you suggesting that?
It has everything to do with it, wouldn't you think?
Give me the definition of the word objective and explain to me how that relates to arbitrary. Please
sure.
explain to me.
Absolutely. So when I'm talking about logic and I'm talking about it for me, it has a lot to do with whether or not we're talking about deductive arguments and inductive arguments. If we're talking about something that is objectively true, often we're talking about tautologies. We're talking about something that is kind of just explaining itself. And we can come to some objectively true things because we're stuck with tautologies. And because of that, that's just the way it's defined, right? There are probably a lot of other ways people use that word, but that's kind of how I interact with that word. And that's what I think of when I'm talking about arbitrary. When I see something as arbitrary, it's interchangeable. And I guess language is too, but I don't know if I would go that way.
No.
I don't know if here's the thing. I might be too sleepy for that. I might be too sleepy for that. So hold on a second. So I do want to get back to Mars here.
Yeah. But I didn't see the connection between your objectivity and arbitrary. How that somehow makes it a contradiction. Because you're misapplying the argument.
Okay. No, I got it.
Please, try to get it. Try to get it right, man. Try to get it right.
Sure. So you think that a God objectively exists, correct?
Of course.
Okay. Do you need objective evidence or arbitrary evidence?
We need objective evidence, and I don't know. I don't understand how that relates to my argument saying that the 7-day cycle is arbitrary because the evidence is the 7-day cycle, which
you just said objective. It's arbitrary. You just said it's. Okay, hold on.
In context, when I'm saying arbitrary, I'm saying in context it has nothing to do with nature. That is what I mean by arbitrary. Come on, guys. Let's stick to the conversation here. I thought you understood what I was saying.
I am sticking to the conversation.
As it relates to nature, because you're saying it has nothing to do with nature. And I'm saying, of course, it has nothing to do with nature because it comes with the 7-day cycle in Genesis 1. He created in 6 days and Sabbath on the seventh. So
Okay.
it has nothing to do with creation, with nature. That
Okay.
is what I meant by arbitrary.
Yeah, if it has nothing to do with nature, then it lives in your head. And the fact that a God lives in the head of the men and women, and to the people who believe in it, is exactly what I believe. The fact that people believe it and that it lives in their minds doesn't make it objectively true, and it doesn't say anything about nature and reality. The fact that you would have a God that can't interact with nature, or at least the best evidence you can bring doesn't have anything to do with nature, makes it a weak sauce argument. But to tell me that I'm not interacting with it, I'm listening as closely as I can, and I'm trying my best to interact with you in an honest way. So
okay. So how about I respond? How about I respond to that real quickly? If it was in nature, you could have found an excuse in nature instead of saying it's God. The fact it's not in nature is something arbitrary, and that you're exclusively submitted to. That is what you need to address. The 70 cycle is not in my mind. The 70 cycle is part of our experience. We do it every single week. So that is what you need to argue.
we do it arbitrarily. We do it arbitrarily.
Change it then, and then you will show that God is not God. But
cool, absolutely. No, give it about 30 years when we put people on Mars.
Okay, so in 30 years, you're right. Jesus is not Lord, but now he is. Come on, man. Is that your argument?
Hold on.
Are you serious?
Okay, listen to me. Listen really close.
I'm listening.
Right.
I'm listening.
I was under the impression that a God that created a universe is impacting all of the universe. Are you under that impression?
Of course he is.
Is there a 7-day cycle on Mars? Does that make sense?
There's no 70 cycle on Mars.
Okay.
He did not institute.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Okay. So there's not a 7-day cycle on Mars, right?
No, because there's no humans on Mars.
Okay, but you think that there can't be humans on Mars?
Whether it can be or it can't be is not the case.
No. It's absolutely relevant because it absolutely destroys your argument. So quit hiding from it and at least admit that it only matters up until people don't live on Earth. As soon as people don't live on Earth, your argument falls to pieces. And to say that your God reigns until that case is only evidence of the fact that you don't give a shit about evidence. You don't care about evidence because you're right until you're wrong. And that's not how reality works.
That's not true.
Oh, it's not. It's not. So hold on. No, I'm holding you to account. I'm holding you to account. Yeah. So you were saying that your God is true up until people live on other planets. Did you not?
What my argument was.
Yes or no? Yes or no? No.
It's going to take 5 seconds.
Answer with a yes or no, and then then give me the explanation.
Okay. Repeat your question, and then give me 5 seconds to respond.
Cool.
Repeat your question, because I'm going to go straight to your question.
Okay. The question that I asked was, it sounded like you were saying that your God claim is true until people live on other planets, until it's not. That the reasonable thing to do is to accept it as true until it is not true. It sounded like that is what you were saying, and I'm asking you, is that what you said?
Yes, I can accept that, because my 5 seconds I said, right?
Yeah,
my second proposition is that he submitted nations. So that's a proof for us, human beings. So yeah, go ahead.
Got it. That's a weak sauce argument to me.
What did you say?
I said that's a weak argument to me.
But you gotta explain why. You're a philosopher. Come on now. show me the line of reason behind your statements. That's just a slogan until you demonstrate and substantiate why you believe that.
I did.
Come on now.
I did.
You didn't. You just said that's a weak argument. That's not
No. I said it's arbitrary. You agreed that it's arbitrary. I said that it is not.
What did I mean by arbitrary? Context. What did I say?
I'm going to use your words. You said in relation to nature.
Exactly. So how does that affect my argument? How does the fact that it has nothing to do with nature somehow militate against my argument?
So this is really kind of a sociological argument for the existence of God, isn't it?
You can say that, because it's part of our social construct. Every single week, we have to keep a 7-day cycle. So what you got to do is go against authorship.
Okay. I don't even know. Like, you do understand leap years exist, right? Like, it's not perfect.
What does a year got to do with a 7-day week? You could have leap years. You could add extra days to the month, extra days to the years. It will never change the 7-day cycle. You see how weak your argument is? You're supposed to be the best of the best. Come on now. What does a leap year got to do with a 7-day week?
Yeah, I got it. No, it works unless it doesn't. When it doesn't work, then it doesn't matter, right?
Doesn't explain to me how. No,
Oh,
explain
no,
to
no,
me
no,
how
no,
a
no.
leap year.
Okay.
Explain to me how a leap year will ever affect a 7-day week.
Sure, no problem.
A cycle.
Here we go, right? If I tell
Go
you
ahead.
that you are stuck looking at your watch and you are going to count 60 seconds in a minute, okay? And you are stuck and there's nothing you can do but count 60 seconds in a minute. You watch that watch and you keep watching it, right? I keep using the word watch. I maybe should have used a different example. You're watching the clock. How's that? You're watching the clock and you're counting the seconds as they tick by. If we were
Go
to
ahead.
speed that up, if you were to recognize that over time, there are more seconds than you are counting, and we need to fix that. That's where leap years come in. That's where leap days or leap hours come in. It is us accounting for
Leap year only affects the years, not the week.
accounting for
Oh my
the
goodness.
absolutely not perfect nature of it. So if you think your God is
leap
imperfect,
year-
then that's fine. Do you believe that your God is imperfect?
The word leap year had the word year in it. It affects the years, not the week. You still haven't explained to me the link between a leap year and a week, a cycle.
I don't understand how you made it to adulthood without swallowing your tongue. How did you possibly? How can you? That's like saying, I need you to weigh out 3 cups of flour, but you can't explain to me that a bag of flour exists. We're talking about measurements. We're talking about whether or not they're useful. I mean, I'm trying every way to meet you where you are, and you are so stubbornly, pig-headedly not understanding that is your problem, dude. That is your problem. But you know what? Here's the thing. If you are going to be so scared, if you are going to be unsure that you're going to run away from things and change the subject, if you're going to be so scared that you can't even accept that even the argument that you're using is fundamentally broken because we need to account for it, that's your problem. Don't bring it on my show. You're dropped. What a fucking... That is a clown. That is an absolute clown. Here's what I want you to do. Audience, put yourself in my shoes. When we release this video clip, put down in the comments how you would have responded. There are 10,000 ways I could have gone. I could not have gotten all of them, but I had to pick one way. It was going to be, and it was that way. So I'd love to see how you would do it, how you'd handle it.